Charlie. I'm the book review guy, and today I will be starting a series of ongoing reviews of different types of books. Some of them are business, sociology, self-help, biographies, you name it. Many of them, I have them by here. Some of them will come later in the game. Each title that we will read and analyze is a book that I have personally read and used for myself. Sort of like a tool, a guide, a mentor of sorts, a friend. From every read, I have gotten one or several teachings that have made my work or life better, much better I'd say, and I hope that they will help you too. With this material, you will not only be able to help yourself, but you will also be able to help others around you. Peers, people that you work with, friends. Which for me is what really matters, right? I have always found that when I help others, I actually help myself grow. Sort of like karma. And if you're this type of person in an organization, in a family, in a group of friends, well, kudos for you, my friend. I'm proud of you. We honestly need more people like you out there that actually care. So, with this video and series of videos, I hope to give you a ballpark idea of what the book is about. My main goal is to entice you on reading the book. By no means ever my intention is to substitute for the reading of the book. I will share knowledge that has helped me, but see, books have many golden nuggets, and they can only be found by the reader and the moment in time that they are read. The writer, in their knowledge, when they were writing the book, they were thinking about many things. So normally we're open to suggestions when we're reading. It's sort of like when you want to buy a car and you're suddenly on the street and you start seeing red cars everywhere. You never used to see red cars until you wanted to buy a red car. So in this specific issue, there's something similar. When you're looking for a specific response on a specific read, sometimes it's right in front of you, but it might not have been in front of your neighbor when they read that book. So, my goal with this channel is to share with you through the reads and real life examples that I'm going to share with you. Some are mine, some are from the industry that I have studied. How to expand your minds and life skills. Always trying to find 3 very powerful words that I always ask myself. And they are: will it make me stronger in life and at work? Will it make me happier in life and at work? Will it make me better in life and at work? Sweet. Everybody wants to be better, right? Better, happier. But anyway, by no means am I an expert or an erudite. Remember that? I am just but a regular Joe like many of you out there, trying to be a better person. More self-conscious of me and the people around me. Understand my surroundings. Surround myself with better and more powerful ideas, but overall with a clear purpose in life. And that is to help people around me, to help others as I was once helped. Well, not once, many people helped me to get where I am, and I'm really grateful for that. I'll name them eventually. The difference in this case is that I chose technology to make it broader, as opposed to a one-on-one connection, which if somebody wants in the future, of course, but through these means and through these gadgets, we're able to connect in order to help ourselves even better. Today, I will start on a good note, a great note, I'd say. Definitely one of my all-time favorites. A book written by the Disney Institute and Theodore Kinni. It is called Be Our Guest, and it's this one over here. So stay tuned and buckle up while we explore one of my favorite books, Be Our Guest. See you in there. So welcome back. Today we're talking about Be Our Guest, written by the Disney Institute and Theodore Kinni. This book is all about the secrets behind Disney's successful customer service philosophy and how they created a magical experience for their guests who keep coming back and coming back and coming back. In this video, we'll also highlight some of the key ideas from the book and share some practical tips and insights on how to apply these ideas to your business, organization, or just like to your everyday life if you are on hospitality. Keyword, hospitality. So, Disney's organization certainly has done it successfully, given the fact that it's one of the most important companies in the whole world and has taken hospitality, service, overall client experience like no other. So let's start by talking about the author. It's actually two authors. I'm sure you're familiar with the Disney company, obviously. You may at some point bought their merchandise, seen their movies, even gone to their parks. What you may not know is that they have a branch of the company that, in their words, helps train and advise professionals from around the world. So, part of their mission, they do advisory services, learning events, and professional development courses to external companies and individuals from all over the world. That's pretty crazy and great and awesome, I'd say. Apparently, being an extremely successful multinational company with unlimited resources that started drawing a mouse on a drawing board will now make you an expert. And it did. How? Hearing, seeing, understanding, learning from the millions of clients or guests that come through their doors on an every year basis. I have personally always admired Walt Disney, going to their parks with my wife and kids along the years. My wife, who is the trip planner in the family, as always, has made me cherish the trips we've made, and they have been amazing. Why? Because working for over 20 years in the hospitality industry myself, I was intrigued by how they were able to create this environment. When I knew about this book, I said, if there's something that captures the essence of what's going on, at least at the parks, and how that makes me feel, then I'm sure that that book will not disappoint. And it didn't. So, the Disney Institute chose Theodore Kinni, a renowned business author and journalist, and who at the moment had already written several business books, like 1001 Ways to Keep Your Customers Coming Back, spoiler alert, and other titles like America's Best and Future Focus. He's also a journalist and has written articles and has been an editor for several business publications. As I researched this author, the most consistently paraded showcase book was, you guessed it, Be Our Guest. More to come. So there are 6 chapters that cover this book. Disney's approach to quality of service, the magic of service, the magic of cast, the magic of setting, the magic of process, and the magic of integration. This book speaks mainly about the quality approach that made Disney as big as it is today. And as much as it touches lightly on other sides of the business, like animation, movies, etc., it is mainly centered around the parks, around the hotels, around the restaurants, projecting their learned experiences to other businesses, as all these businesses have clients, many clients. But not just any client, but a client that is immersed in a living experience, 360. Their approach starts with Walt himself, with the vision that he had about parks, of how from a visit he made to an amusement park earlier in his life, he dreamt about the ideal park. He had one of these aha moments, if you want to say it like that, where, in his words, employees were not creepy and everything looked clean and the land was magical. That is the starting point of their quality service approach, to go above and beyond what was expected, obviously. It was not much, necessarily. In the book, it talks about how, in order to build a reputation, the expectations have to be met. They have to be certain. And then exceeded. The book speaks about the little wows and the big wows. And this I like. What are the little wows? The little wows are tiny details that you can see in the park. For example, the attention to cleanliness, the kindness of the cast members, the texture of the floor being different from one land to the other, as we will see later on. The ambient music, the aroma in the air, the uniforms of the cast members from one area to the other. Those are the little wows. What are the big wows? Well, the big wows are basically when you suddenly put 2 and 2 together and you suddenly go, wow, just like it's the whole experience around you, surrounding you, embracing you. That is when everything comes together. And you have a wow moment when you suddenly see that everything is structured. Nothing is taken for granted. There are many golden nuggets in this book, as we can see in the forward section by Tim Staggs, who was Disney's Parks and Resorts chairman. He reminds us that many of the letters that came in the mail from the guests, we're not talking about the shows. We're not talking about the rides that were millions of dollars. Most of the letters, in their majority, were about the cast members that always made them feel special. The cast members went above and beyond. And on those letters, the guests specifically said, thank you because I was going to get married and the cast member made the experience unforgettable. Thank you because it was my birthday and the cast member helped us get dressed and all of us were coordinated and it was amazing and they started singing and there was a parade. That is gold. That is plain gold. And Disney is the king. At Disney parks, the employees are called cast members. Yes. Like the ones in a show? Yes. The idea is that employees are performing a part and they're always in character for the audience when they are on stage. And on stage means, yes, you guessed it, like in the stage in the theater. And obviously, the cast members are also in their costumes. There's also an offstage area that Walt thought about to help employees relax when they are not in front of the customer. A creation that has been implemented in many other companies as a way of making the customer-facing employees showing their best behavior when they're in front of the client, but also chilling when they are not facing the customer. For Walt, the employees were the most important thing. So why was this important? Because an employee is the most important asset. As Disney said it himself, a $200 million attraction is nothing if the employee at the entrance is unpleasant. It kills the vibe, it kills the experience. That is why the key idea from the book is creating a magical moment through training. Training. And this is a magical word that many business owners decide not to pay attention. Disney invests heavily in training its employees to ensure that they have the skills and knowledge needed to create a magical moment for the customer's experience. This includes teaching them how to be friendly, how to handle difficult situations, and create a positive atmosphere, like what we heard on the letters. Birthday, wedding, celebrations, all of those are the cast members suddenly like, okay, something's going on, I need to make it 10 times better. And they can certainly do that. One of the main ideas to reflect on this book is a term that I really like called guestology, which is part of the quality service compass. Walt used to send his employees to sit around the guests in the park because he had this idea that how could it be possible to design something for a client that you just don't know? This happens a lot, don't you think? On like marketing departments and other areas within the company that they are never in the field. They're never in the stores. They're never in the attractions or whatever your business might be. Sometimes the people communicating the business doesn't know the customer, has never heard the voice of the customer. And so we come up with ideas that don't necessarily reflect what's really going on, and so we cannot call their attention. And so the needs and wants and perceptions of the clients provide context, very important context for the service strategy and the course of action. They have to be the driver, if not the main driver, the common purpose that aligns the cast members and establish the foundation for their own behavior towards the guests and management, resulting in, you guessed it, happier guests. Guests that come back, guests that become regulars. We're always looking for who's the regular, right? The regular is the neighbor, the regular is the tourist, the regular is our own employers. Who's the regular? And so Disney knew this. The book also talks about the setting. Oh my God, the setting. Defining it as the place where the business is conducted, where the customer meets you. The setting speaks for the client. The setting can be seen, touched, smelled, heard. In this book, it explains that when you go into the Magic Kingdom, as an example, even the floors change from one area to the other, like I mentioned earlier in the wow moment. So you can feel it in your feet. So Walt was thinking, oh my God, this person is going to walk from one land to the other. They have to feel how the floor changes, because one is cobblestone and the other one is the land of the future or whatever. And so he was even thinking about that. No? How often are we thinking about this in our business if we have a guest-facing experience? So everything changes. All the environment together at Disney. There is so much more to this book. So much more. But I really don't want to spoil it. So we'll continue with more. Okay, I love this part. This is where we land some of the previous ideas so that we can have an understanding of how they work in an everyday setting, so that we can relate to them easier. So today, because I already exceeded my time for this show, I brought 3 examples. How to make sense. So, example number 1. The Apple Store. Oh my God, the Apple Store. Definitely some hot topics here. Cast, setting, process. Just perfect execution, right? So I'm happy to provide this example on regards of chapter number 5, which is the cast. The real life example of effective casting and employee training comes from this giant computer manufacturer at their store level. Apple is known for its exceptional customer service and obviously attention to detail, which was one of Steve Jobs' most important point always in his life. He liked design, he liked perfection. We'll see it on his biography later, but he was definitely an interesting fellow. And this is largely due to the emphasis on doing a great job. A great job from the start. And doing it effectively. Believe me, when you hire the right person, the training is so much more easy. And Apple has nailed it. Apple has a rigorous hiring process that focuses on finding candidates with a passion for technology and a natural ability to connect with the customer. Once hired, new employees go through a comprehensive technical training on Apple products and also hands-on customer service. And they do something that who doesn't love doing, which is role-playing, right? Employees there practice hours on various different types of scenarios and different situations to have empathy with every single type of client, because you can get a client that doesn't know anything about computers, and you can have somebody like my oldest son who knows absolutely everything about everything on technology, RAM memory, disk operating systems, the watches, the iPods, absolutely everything. This helps them feel more confident and prepared when they're interacting with the customers. It makes it easier for them to solve a situation. On the other hand, the customer feels that they're being taken care of and that there's empathy with them. This is a gold, as we had spoken in the past. Having a client that is felt understood, that's why there's a very high return rate. And even though Apple might not be the cheapest, it does have a high return rate just because customers like the way they feel when they go into this environment. There is a technical store where somebody gives you service. They don't dumb you down. They don't make you feel as if you're asking stupid questions. There's easy to access products and shelves. Everything is very neat, very clean, and everything just makes sense. Another aspect of Apple's training program is the company's culture. Apple fosters a culture of innovation and creativity and encourages employees to think outside the box and come up with new innovative ways to serve customers. By hiring the right people and training them effectively, Apple has created a team of passionate, knowledgeable, and caring employees who are dedicated to providing exceptional customer service. This has helped them build a loyal customer base and establish themselves as the leader in tech industry. Just tell me something. Does caring, acknowledging, having empathy, what does that have to do with technology? Perhaps nothing, but it is through those attributes trained to the staff member that was selected properly that technology gets sold. And guess what? It's one of the highest valued companies in the stock exchange for some reason. Even though the book doesn't talk about sales, it has a heavy impact on it. Sales are but a reflection of understanding your employees' and customers' needs and wants. And then over exceeding their expectations. It's not that hard. But when you have a plan, you devote yourselves to it and have a great team backing you up, the journey, aside from being amazing, becomes much easier to travel. So many traits to talk about. The quality of service, quality of cast, the setting is amazing, and the process just works beautifully, seamlessly. A second example I'm going to give you really fast is Disney trip with my family. When we went to Disneyland in Florida many years ago, my second son was 5 years old, the oldest one was 12, and he just loved the rock and roll coaster. My wife was waiting in the gift shop with my second son, who was 5 and didn't make the height to go into the ride. And so my older son kept going back and back because we had the fast pass. My young son was tired and bored from waiting for his older brother, when all of a sudden, a cast member, which I will never forget, her name was Lizzie, came and made my son feel like a rock star, look like a rock star. She gave him a prop guitar, popped some glasses, shade glasses on him. She asked for his autograph, and all of a sudden my son was in full character. No, he was feeling like amazing. Lizzie made his day. Nobody asked her to help us. It was a spontaneous act of amazing kindness. Although I must say, it was spontaneous, but it came out of two things: her training and her character. She was handpicked to be the best cast member for that location specifically, and she had the great training that Disney gives to all of their employees. So thank you, Lizzie. I don't think you remember us, but you made my son's day, and that is just priceless. Traits, quality of service, process, and amazing casts. In the restaurant business, my third and final example, we can find similar examples. Have you ever been to a restaurant? This is me asking you. Where the food was amazing. The decor and the ambience were perfect. But yet, the service was bad? And this compelled you not to go back? Oh my God, how many times have I heard this? Well, restaurants like parks, like many other hospitality businesses, are and should be a 360-degree experience. Things like service, setting, cast, process are a key element. If you skip one, it's as if you had skipped them all. Clients used to be more forgiving before, but not anymore. The ranking system out there is ruthless. The star system, you got 4 stars, 4.5, 5 stars. It's a killer. And if you are not playing your best game, you won't make it. It's that simple. I remember the last time that I went to one of the best steakhouses in Brooklyn, and this one, well, is one of the oldest ones too. I won't name it, but this is the story. And it was indented in my brain because I had invited all of my direct family. We were, I don't know, around 15, came over on vacations to see us, and it was just a really bad experience. Well, the thing is that this place does not accept credit cards. It's all cash. It was 15 people, steakhouse, you can imagine, no? The cash thing was not communicated properly, at least not on the reservation apps and not on their webpage. So, in addition, because they're perfect tourist traps, they don't need to play their best game. I remember that after my whole family and I ate, the server informed us that in my disbelief of their cash policy. And even though it might be quite common in certain parts, even more in this older part of New York and certain parts of Brooklyn, now I know, it is crazy that you have to pay for such a high amount in a check, obviously in cash. Anyway, so what happened next is that my family members and I, the older ones, had to go out of the restaurant walking, looking for ATMs around the block. Fortunately, we found one. But the bad taste was there. Half of my family was in the restaurant sitting down. We couldn't pay the bill. The server was very disrespectful. I remember this tall person just mad and cussing at us in a language that I didn't understand. It was just really bad. I remember next day, I mentioned to one of my coworkers, because I'm in the same industry as the place that I went to eat, and I told him, you know what? I think something's going to happen to this place eventually. You cannot just live like that, giving awful service, and they're just so out of touch, out of time. Me being in the industry for so long, I felt that. And so, long story short, a couple of days later, an article in the New York Times comes out. One of the main persons from the paper that goes and reviews restaurants gave this restaurant like one of the worst ratings in years. No, his name was Pete Wells, the journalist. I remember perfectly. This was in 2019. And I remember that there were over 300 comments on the webpage. Some of them were supporting the restaurant because they were imagining a restaurant open in the 1800s, late 1800s. Obviously, there are sweet and sour moments. People saying, I had my birthday there, great time. And other people saying, no, too expensive, or the credit card thing. Also, bittersweet. I personally lived a bad experience. So nobody can really tell me I'm wrong. I'm sure my neighboring table could have had the opposite. They could have had a great experience. So I guess another lesson is not just because you have fame and are considered a destination spot currently, that alone does not guarantee your stability. You have to work on it every single day. Every single day. Generations change, people change. Hear the voice of the customer. That is the golden rule. You have to hear the voice of the customer. I didn't mention anything on the setting of the place, but the place at the moment was very beaten up, but I guess it's part of the heritage of the space. They're late 1800s, and I guess they want to keep sort of like the heritage of the space. But obviously, this has to do with quality of service, quality of process, the setting, and the cast. So with these three examples, you can see there's no easy formula. All of them are hospitality driven. All of them are managed and run by people. And so even though obviously people are the most important assets, both guests and employees, both of them, it is important to acknowledge that things are changing, that you have to be in top of your game. And reading these type of books really puts emphasis on areas that you might have not understood before because things were different. So, hope you like the examples. Have many more. If you want more, write on the comments below. More to come. Okay, so 4 reflections on the book. There are many reflections, but I have 4 that are some of the most important for me at this moment in time. First one, the book wants to teach the reader, meaning possibly you, me, the importance of understanding what a guest gives real value to, and not what we think is the most important thing for the guest. Let me repeat that. The book wants to teach us to understand what the guest's real value is. What moves the guest? What makes the guest move from the couch to your place and live that experience? That's lesson number 1, or point number 1. Point number 2, this is not a book on how to sell products. It is a book that has to do with the customer approach, and Disney has, through hundreds of thousands of customers, understood what really matters and has an impact on the human mind and on the human soul. And then it gives a stroke of genius and imprints an experiential, long-lasting memory that withstands the pass of time. The same as the example that I gave you on me going to Disney. I don't know who was more excited, if my kid or me. Now I can tell you that I want to go back to Disney, and I'm the father, right? So it's important to understand what to spend our money on, what is the experience that our guest wants, not the one that we think the guest wants. Again, hear the voice of the customer. The third one is, this book is for you if you are in the restaurant, the hotel, entertainment, theater, retail, overall, any guest-facing business, and you are trying to understand how to create the right ambience and experience within your space. Understanding how to influence the 5 senses of the human body, which are, let me remind you, smell, sound, touch, sight, and taste. Number 4, this book is meant mainly for all sorts of businesses in which hospitality is key towards the development of the overall guest experience. This is gold. I don't know, I'm really proud of this work. If you felt related to any of these 4, then this book might be for you. But even if you didn't feel related, there's so many life living examples that will help you. We're gonna go to the last phase of the book, of the show. Hold on, we're almost over. Okay, so we're on the second reflection, the last part of the video. What are my overall feelings of this book? I have 4 main sections, 4 main areas that I'm going to address. They're very interesting. The first one, everybody reading this book creates a sense of awareness within yourself that teaches you on the spot and in a short amount of time after you read it, how to spot the following things. The first, when there is a proper setting, either in your business or in the business you're visiting, now you know. Second, when you're in the front of a properly selected and trained cast member, or when you have invested poorly in your team and that has consequences in the customer's experience, now you know why. Third, when you're being given the proper service, now you know why. And fourth, when there is a proper process behind the operation being executed, it's because everything just makes sense and flows like butter. Well, now you know. Nothing's for granted. The second point is, you come to terms that things don't just happen on their own. There has to be clear intent behind how businesses have to be executed. Overlooking any of the concepts related herein leads to a poor experience. And even worse, since now you know, there is no excuse to be closer to a successful outcome upon implementation. 2 concepts that left a mark on me while reading this book. The first one, the wow factor. Oh my God, wow factor. The second one, over exceeding our guest expectations. That has to be one of the main concepts that has to be indented on our brain. Over exceeding our guest expectations has to be a constant factor. Not just from you, but from absolutely everybody within your business. Whether you have a sporting goods store, whether you have a gym, whether you have a restaurant, you can always over-exceed your guests' expectations. That's something that has to be on your DNA. Last, I have my rating for this book. This book for me is a 5 light bulb. So I have a light bulb system which goes from 0 light bulbs to 5 light bulbs. The 5 light bulbs I've baptized as true enlightenment. I truly believe that after reading this book, you cannot go back. It's one of those books that opens your mind, opens your consciousness to understanding when things are working, when things are not working, and you can spot them really fast. And that's very important if you're in the hospitality business. So, thank you, be our guest. Thank you, Disney. Have one final remark. Thank you very much. Oh my God, can't believe we are on the final stretch. And so, like always, please let me know what you thought about the book on the comments section below. It'll be amazing for me to see if you have read it, if you have implemented some of these concepts. What are your thoughts? please leave your comments below. If you would like me to read a book within the service industry, please also make a comment below. I have a list that I'm working on and that I will be working on as I move forward. But nonetheless, it's always important. You never know what other new authors are out there and some relevant content. I really value all of your comments. If you have any type of questions, please let me know too. I will gladly answer them as soon as I can. I'm glad to say that we already have our next book for the next session, which will be A Humble Inquiry. Definitely one of my old favorites too. Edgar Schein has an amazing way of sharing the concept of being humble, asking instead of telling. Such a powerful tool when working in a human company, right? We all work with humans, human beings that have feelings, that have a soul, a mind, and there's just so much that we can do, but we just don't know how to do it. We've been taught the old ways. These are the new ways, and I'm happy to share them with you. As always, I'm going to be sharing one final comment, which is be kind with each other. We need to be more kind with each other. I learned that lesson from one person that I respect a lot, Daniel Lubeski, founder and CEO of Kind Bars. He has always said that we had to be kind with each other, and I truly believe that. If we just had a little bit more of kindness, things would be more different. So thank you very much for your time. I hope I added a little bit of value in you today. And believe me, I want to help you in an unselfish way to be better, to be stronger, and to be happier. That's my life's mission, and I'm here to do it. Thank you very much. Until next time.